Hi there, peace to you and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm excited to show you the process of making this Little Scientist lab coat for Science Club. To start off, here are the tools and materials you will need. I started with the front by going in 3 inches from the edge and then drawing the starting line, and this will be our front panel. At the starting line, I also went in by my shoulder measurement divide by 2 and marked it. Next is the neck width, which is your chest circumference divide by 12, and you mark it. As for the neck depth, that depends upon you how low you want or how deep you want the depth to go at the front. Then of course you're going to connect with a curve to make your neck curve or neckline. Next is the armhole depth, which is the chest circumference divided by 6 and plus 1.5. Draw a line to indicate the chest line. At the chest line, I'm going to mark my chest circumference divided by 4. As you know, when you're drafting, you draft only one part of the front and one part of the back. So the overall chest circumference will be divided by 4. Since this is a lab coat, it just needs to be straight, so no need for any waist measurement. So at the hem of the lab coat, you're going to measure the chest circumference and then connect to the chest marking at the chest line. This will create your side seam. To create the shoulder slant, go down by 1/2 inch at the shoulder and connect it to your neck width. Then at the armhole depth, get the midpoint and connect this with your curved ruler to create your armhole curve. To create a casing for your buttons and buttonholes, extend a straight line at the 3-inch extension from the neck depth and cut this out. I added seam allowance at the shoulder since I had not added that, but as for the rest of the garment, seam allowance is included in the measurement since I divided by 4 and then added 1 inch, or you can add 1.5 inches, but I believe the ease was enough for the seam allowance, so I just added 1 inch all around. I snipped at the 3-inch mark to indicate it so that when I'm folding it in, I'll be able to remember where it was. So I separated the 2 front pieces. First thing I did for the back was separate the 2 back pieces and then cut off at the back vent with extra seam allowance just to sew the back pieces together. So draw your starting line and then we'll continue with the measurements like we did in the front. So you start off with the neck width, then connect to the neck depth, and this will create your neckline. Next is to input the shoulder measurement divide by 2 and then go down to create your armhole depth from the shoulder. Extend the chest line from that armhole depth line. Then go down 1 inch at the shoulder to create your shoulder slant. Basically everything you did in the front, you do in the back. Get the midpoint at the armhole line. Then your chest divide by 4. And you use the chest being the biggest part, use the same measurement all the way down That's your chest divide by 4, and you'll be doing this from the not from the back vent, but from the seam line of the back. That is a center back. So extend all the way down. Next, you connect the armhole curve from the midpoint line and then cut everything out. Don't forget your seam allowance at the neckline. Cut everything out and you have your back panels ready for sewing. Next, I went on to cut out the pockets. You will have pockets on both sides. You know, a lab coat, you need to carry stuff in, so you need your pockets, and the measurement is 10 inches by 8 inches. You can make that longer or bigger if you like, but this is a kid's lab coat, so those measurements were okay. Next, I began the assembling process, and we start with the back vent. You're going to fold the allowance part in and then do a fold over to cover it, and then you're going to press this down so it will be aligned with your back seam line so that it will cover everything. So you're going to press this down and then sew the back allowance, and this is what it's going to look like. And there is your back vent. Perfect. Next is the front, and this is how I did the front. You fold in the serged part and then fold into the part that was notched, and when you lie them together, this is how they'll look. So it will be forming your buttonhole and the buttons casing for the front. Press this down, of course, with an iron to make sure everything is straight and neat, ready for the next process. So this is what I did to create that casing. You're going to fold it in like this, then stitch at the top where I'm pinning. You stitch that down, after stitching, you're going to snip out the corner so that you will not have bulk at the corner. So snip that part out and then fold it out, or rather fold it in. Make sure to straighten everything so that your corner will be nice and sharp, and then sew this down to close the casing. And there you have it. That's how I did the front. So you do this to the left side and to the right side. Now that that's done, we are now going to create the collar. And to create the collar, you need to measure from the snipped part all the way to the other side. We're going to use this measurement to create a simple collar. There is of course more detailed and more proper ways of making a collar, but since we're making a simple collar, this is the process I used. So for your measurement, you get the midpoint of the measurement you took by folding your tape into half. Then, as you can see, this piece of fabric is folded into two. Then you further fold it into two again. So this will create your center back. From the center back, go down by the half measurement and mark it. And we're going to go up the width of the collar So I chose 3 inches. It's a kid's lab coat, so 3 inches would be more than enough. Then I'll roll this out. Then for the collar extension, I went in, or rather out, by 1.5 inches. Then I connected this to the collar. At the center back, I'm going to go down by 1 inch, and this will create the curve. As you know well that our necks are not straight, they are curved. So to have it lay very nicely at the collar, you have to make this curve, and you go down by 1.5 and connect. Then I'm going to add seam allowance, of course, to join the collar to the main piece. The simple collar is complete and ready to attach to the coat. Snip the center back so that you'll know where to attach it at the center back of the coat. On the wrong side of the collar, fold in 0.5 inches and press it down. Then sew in the sides of the collar to secure everything in place, and then snip the excess bulk so that you have a sharp collar or sharp edges at the collar, at the corners of the collar, and then flip this inside out. And there you have it. Press it down if need be, and it's ready to attach to the coat. Remember the snip part at the center back? This is where we're going to attach it to the center back. So you're going to find the center back of the coat. It's advisable to pin everything together so you have a much secure placing for your collar and the main piece, and then sew it all around. This is how it looks after the collar has been attached, nice and neat. If you need to iron anything, then do so for your work to be neat and nice and presentable. Next is the pockets. So I've folded in allowances at all the corners. At the top, I folded in about 1/4 of an inch and then folded in by about 1 inch. And on the sides, I folded in about 1/4 of an inch all around. And of course, ironed everything out to make sure it's flat. From the top part of the button placket, you're going to go down by about 16 inches. Now this depends on the height of the person or where you want to place your buttons. But in my case, I went down by 16 inches and then went in by 2.5 inches from the placket, the buttons placket. And then I made a straight line so that placing the pocket will be accurate. I went ahead and pinned everything in place, and then I'm going to stitch as shown in the video. So this is after I stitch both the right and the left side. As you can see, the pockets are complete. Next step is to create the sleeve, and I'm going to do this by taking the armhole measurement all around. Now the armhole is the same for the front and the back. We don't need to do any special alterations for the front because this is just a simple coat. To draft the sleeve, I'm going to start off. To create the sleeve, I'm starting off with a folded fabric and draw a starting line. Then from the starting line, go down to the length of the sleeve. Once you mark this, extend a line and find the midpoint of these two lines, and to create the elbow, from that point go up by 1 inch and extend a line, and this will be your elbow line. The next thing to find will be the sleeve cup line, which is your chest circumference divided by 12 plus 1. After you mark the sleeve cup, you extend this line. From the starting line to the sleeve cup, input half of the bicep measurement, which is your bicep divided by 2, and you mark that on the sleeve cup line. Find the midpoint of the line you just created and mark it. And using your curved ruler, from the midpoint to the starting line, you create a curve, the top curve, and then from the midpoint to the bicep line, or sleeve cup line rather, you make another curve, and this will make your sleeve. At the elbow line and the wrist line, I'm going to go in by half of the circumferences. So at the elbow is half of my elbow circumference, and at the wrist is half of my wrist circumference. Remember that this fabric is on fold, so whatever I measure half will go complete for the whole circumference. Then I'm going to join all the points, and remember all these have seam allowances included. Cut the sleeve out, and this is ready to join to the main piece of the coat. As you can see, I unfold the fabric and there is your sleeve. Notch the center of the sleeve so that you can attach it to the center of the shoulder joining rather. And this is how you're going to join it. So finally everything has been joined and assembled together, and this is the complete lab coat with the buttons and buttonholes made as well. And this is the final outcome. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye for now.